before you scroll away, I want to ask you one simple question. Have you ever prayed with all your heart and heard nothing in return? No answer, no sign, no breakthrough, just silence. If that's where you are today, don't leave this video, because silence does not always mean absence. Sometimes the greatest work is happening where your eyes cannot see. Take one slow breath. Set every distraction aside. Listen with an open heart, because this message may change the way you see your waiting forever. My child, I know how difficult it has been for you. Not because life has always been painful, but because there have been moments when you desperately needed an answer, and all you found was silence. You prayed, you waited, you hoped. Day after day, you looked for something that would tell you everything was going to be all right. A sign, a feeling, a breakthrough, anything. But instead, the silence continued. Slowly, questions began filling your mind. Did anyone hear me? Am I waiting for nothing? Have I been forgotten? I know those questions. I have heard every one of them before you ever spoke them. And today I want you to hear something your heart has needed for a long time. Silence is not rejection. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is not proof that your prayers have been ignored. Sometimes, silence is preparation. Think about the sunrise. Long before light reaches the horizon, everything still appears dark. If someone judged the morning only by what they could see, they would believe the sun had disappeared. But they would be wrong. The sun was already rising. It simply had not reached their eyes yet. Your life is often like that. You believe nothing is changing because nothing is visible. But the invisible is not the same as the impossible. There are moments when the greatest changes happen quietly. A seed never makes noise while growing. Roots never announce themselves. The strongest foundations are built where nobody can see them. You have been asking for visible progress. But before visible progress comes invisible preparation. And preparation always feels slower than arrival. I know waiting has made you tired. You keep wondering how much longer you can hold on. You see other people celebrating answers while you continue asking questions. You celebrate with them, but deep inside, your own heart quietly whispers, "When will be my turn?" Listen carefully. Comparison has stolen too much of your peace. Another person's blessing is not evidence that your future has disappeared. Their season is not your timeline. Their story is not your assignment. If two trees are planted on the same day, one may bloom first, the other may take longer, yet both become exactly what they were created to be. Do not confuse a different timeline with a forgotten purpose. You have also been expecting every answer to arrive in the way you imagined. But life rarely unfolds according to your expectations. Sometimes the closed door protects you from a path that would have wounded your spirit. Sometimes the delay develops qualities inside you that success alone never could. Patience, wisdom, discernment, humility. These are gifts that cannot be rushed. You have asked me to remove every obstacle. But what if some obstacles are teaching you how strong you really are? You have asked for an easier road. But what if this road is shaping the person you need to become before your next chapter begins? Never believe that waiting is empty. Waiting has a purpose. It slows you down enough to notice what constant movement hides. It teaches you to value peace more than speed. It teaches you to trust even when certainty is unavailable. Most people only believe when they already have proof. But faith begins before proof appears. Faith is choosing hope while the answer is still invisible. That is not easy. I know. Some nights you have gone to sleep wondering if anything would ever change. Some mornings you woke up carrying the exact same burden. And still, you kept moving. Even if your steps became smaller. Even if your confidence became quieter. You kept going. Do not overlook that. Quiet perseverance is one of the strongest forms of courage. The world notices dramatic victories, but heaven notices faithful hearts. Every day you refused to give up, even when nobody applauded you. You became stronger than you realized. There is another truth I need you to understand. Not every unanswered prayer is a denial. Sometimes it is direction. You have been asking for one thing, while life has been gently leading you towards something greater. But because it doesn't look the way you expected, you almost walked away. Do not mistake an unfamiliar path for the wrong path. Some of the greatest moments in your future will begin as situations you never planned. The opportunities that change your life rarely arrive wearing the clothes you imagined. Stay open, stay teachable, stay hopeful, because even in silence, your story is still moving forward. And there is something about this season of waiting that you have not yet discovered. A truth that has been quietly unfolding while you believed nothing was happening. My child, there is something I want you to see that you have overlooked for far too long. You have been counting everything that has not happened, but you have forgotten to notice everything that has. You focus on the door that never opened. But what about the doors that protected you from walking into places that would have broken your peace? You focus on the prayer that still seems unanswered. But what about the countless moments you were carried through situations you never thought you would survive? Not every blessing arrives as something you receive. Some blessings arrive as something you never have to face. There were dangers you never saw. There were disappointments that could have been much greater. There were paths that looked beautiful from a distance, but would have led you far away from the life you were meant to live. You may never know how many times your life quietly changed direction without you even realizing it. And that is okay. You do not have to understand everything to move forward. You only need enough light for the next step. Many people refuse to take that step because they want to see the entire journey first. They wait for certainty. They wait until every question has an answer. They wait until fear completely disappears. And while they wait, life continues moving. Do not let the need for certainty become the reason you remain standing still. The future has never belonged to those who knew everything. It belongs to those who remained faithful with what they knew today. Right now, your heart has been asking for tomorrow's answers. But today's responsibility is enough. You do not need tomorrow's strength today. When tomorrow arrives, so will the strength you need for it. You have been borrowing worries from days that have not yet come. You imagine conversations that may never happen. You replay situations that may never become reality. And before the day even begins, you already feel exhausted. Come back to this moment, this breath, this day. There is peace available here if you stop running ahead in your mind. You have also been carrying guilt that was never yours to keep. You blame yourself for things that were beyond your control. You replay old decisions, wondering if one different choice would have changed everything. But living in endless regret cannot rewrite yesterday. It only steals today's peace. Learn from your past. Do not live inside it. The chapters behind you were written to teach you, not to imprison you. Every mistake became a lesson. Every disappointment became wisdom. Every failure became experience. Nothing was wasted unless you refuse to grow from it. Growth is rarely comfortable. Think about a sculptor shaping stone. Each strike of the chisel removes something. From the outside, it may look like destruction, but the sculptor is not destroying the stone. He is revealing the masterpiece hidden inside it. Your difficult seasons have felt like those strikes. Piece after piece. Expectation after expectation. Comfort after comfort was slowly removed. You wondered why life felt so difficult. You wondered why so much had to change. But perhaps what was being removed could never become part of the person you were meant to become. Sometimes pride must be removed before wisdom can grow. Sometimes fear must be exposed before courage can take its place. Sometimes comfort must be interrupted before purpose can awaken. You have asked why this process has taken so long. Because lasting transformation is never rushed. Anything built too quickly often collapses just as quickly. But what is built with patience endures. Look at the mountains. They were not formed in a single day. Look at the ocean. It did not become deep overnight. The strongest things in creation required time. So why do you expect your own life to unfold instantly? Give yourself permission to grow slowly. You are not behind. You are becoming. Every day you choose hope instead of despair. You become stronger. Every day you choose kindness instead of bitterness. You become wiser. Every day you choose to keep moving. Even with trembling steps, you become more resilient. Do not underestimate small acts of faithfulness. Great. Lives are not built through one extraordinary moment. They are built through thousands of ordinary moments lived with courage. One decision, one conversation, one act of forgiveness, one quiet prayer, one more step. That is how transformation happens. You keep waiting for one dramatic event to change everything. But often, life changes because of small choices repeated consistently. So today, choose hope again. Choose patience again. Choose peace again. Not because every answer has arrived, but because your heart is becoming stronger than the uncertainty around you. And as your heart grows stronger, you will begin to recognize something that has been hidden in this season all along. A purpose so much greater than the waiting itself. My child, there is a question that has quietly followed you through this entire season. What if nothing ever changes? You may not say those words out loud anymore, but they still appear in the quiet moments. They appear when another opportunity passes by. They appear when another prayer seems to remain unanswered. They appear when another day ends looking almost exactly like the one before it. Little by little, hope begins to feel heavier. Not because hope has become weak, but because waiting has become long. I understand that feeling. I know what it is like to continue believing when your eyes cannot yet see the answer. But I want to show you something that fear has been hiding from you. You believe your life has been standing still. Yet if you truly look back, you would discover that you are no longer the same person who began this journey. The version of you that first entered this season was filled with panic. Now you carry more patience. The version of you that once depended on everyone's approval now values peace more than applause. The version of you that once feared every closed door now understands that not every closed door is a loss. You have changed. Quietly, deeply, powerfully. Transformation rarely announces itself. It simply becomes visible one day, like dawn slowly replacing the darkness. No single second feels dramatic. Yet suddenly, morning has arrived. That is what has been happening inside your heart. You expected one life-changing moment. Instead, your life has been changing one faithful day at a time. Do not underestimate quiet progress. Quiet progress often lasts the longest. The world celebrates speed, but I celebrate endurance. Anyone can begin a journey with excitement. Few continue walking when excitement disappears. Yet those who continue, even with tired feet, discover strength they never knew they possessed. You have continued, even when no one noticed, even when no one congratulated you, even when your efforts seemed invisible. And every unseen step has mattered. Nothing has been wasted. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one lesson, not one moment of faithfulness. You have wondered whether your waiting has any meaning. It does, because waiting reveals what hurry tries to hide. It teaches you what truly matters. It shows you which dreams are temporary and which ones belong in your heart forever. Sometimes what you thought you wanted was only preparing you to discover what you truly needed. There have been dreams you refused to release. You held on to them because they felt safe, because they were familiar, because they matched the future you had imagined. But not every dream is meant to stay forever. Some dreams prepare you for better ones. If one chapter ends, do not believe your story has ended. Some of the most beautiful beginnings first arrive, disguised as painful endings. You cannot always recognize a new beginning while you're still grieving the old one. Give yourself permission to heal. Give yourself permission to breathe. Give yourself permission to believe that life can still surprise you. Hope is not pretending that everything feels easy. Hope is choosing not to surrender your future to today's emotions. Your emotions are real. Honor them. Learn from them. But do not allow them to become permanent decisions. There are days when your feelings will tell you to quit. Your fears will tell you nothing is changing. Your doubts will tell you that waiting is pointless. Listen respectfully, then let them pass. Because feelings are visitors. They are not your identity. Truth remains even when emotions change. The truth is, your life is still unfolding. The truth is, purpose has not left you. The truth is, this season is not the end of your story. It is preparing you for chapters that require a stronger heart, clearer vision, and deeper wisdom. One day, you will look back at this season with gratitude instead of confusion. You will realize that what felt like silence was actually preparation. What felt like delay was actually protection. What felt like uncertainty was actually direction. Until that day comes, keep showing up. Keep choosing kindness. Keep choosing faith. Keep believing that every step you take today is leading somewhere meaningful. Because there is one final truth I still need to place within your heart. A truth that has the power to change the way you see every unanswered prayer from this day forward. My child, there is one final lesson hidden inside every season of waiting. It is the lesson that most people never discover because they leave too soon. They walk away just before the breakthrough. They give up just before their perspective begins to change. They stop believing just before they become the person they have been praying to become. Do not let that be your story. I know there were moments when you wanted to quit, not because you lacked faith, but because you were simply tired. Tired of hoping, tired of waiting, tired of carrying questions that seem to have no answers. There is no shame in admitting that. Even the strongest hearts become weary. Strength does not mean you never feel exhausted. Strength means you continue moving with honesty, even when the journey feels heavy. I have never expected perfection from you. I have never asked you to pretend that everything is easy. I only ask that you keep your heart open, because an open heart can still receive hope. A closed heart can no longer recognize it. There have been blessings that arrived in your life quietly, so quietly that you almost missed them. A conversation that encouraged you at exactly the right time. A stranger's kindness that restored your faith in people. A moment of peace that appeared in the middle of chaos. A door that closed, only for a better opportunity to appear later. These moments were never random. They were gentle reminders that you were never walking through life alone. Sometimes you ask for a miracle so extraordinary that you overlook the miracles happening every single day. The ability to wake up with another chance. The strength to begin again after disappointment. The courage to forgive. The wisdom to learn from failure. The peace that slowly returns after a season of confusion. These are miracles too. Never underestimate quiet miracles. They often shape your future more deeply than dramatic ones. You have also been carrying the belief that your best days belong somewhere far ahead. While hope for the future is beautiful, do not allow it to steal the gift of today. There is beauty in this moment. There are lessons in this season. There are people around you who need the kindness only you can give. Do not postpone your joy until life becomes perfect. Life has never required perfection before offering moments worth celebrating. Smile when there is something to smile about. Rest when your soul grows tired. Laugh without feeling guilty. Celebrate small victories. Every step forward deserves gratitude. Gratitude changes the way you see your journey. When you begin noticing what remains instead of only what is missing, your heart becomes lighter. Hope grows stronger. Fear becomes quieter. This does not mean every problem disappears. It means your perspective begins to change. And perspective changes everything. The mountain that once looked impossible now looks climbable. The storm that once felt endless now reminds you that storms eventually pass. The silence that once frightened you now teaches you patience. Your circumstances may not change overnight, but your heart can. And when your heart changes, you begin walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently, living differently. That inner transformation becomes the beginning of every outward transformation. Do not chase a different life before allowing yourself to become a different person. Lasting change always begins within. You have come farther than you realize. You have learned more than you remember. You have grown more than you can currently see. Trust that. Honor that. Carry that confidence into every new day. Because the greatest chapters of your story are not behind you. They are still waiting to be written. And before this message reaches its conclusion, there is one final promise I want you to carry with you. A promise that will remain with you long after this video ends. My child, if you remember only one thing from this message, let it be this. Silence has never been the end of your story. It has simply been the place where your roots were growing deeper than your eyes could see. One day, you will look back on this season, not with regret, but with understanding. You will realize that the answers you were desperately searching for could not have come any sooner. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were being prepared. Preparation often feels like delay. Growth often feels like waiting. Transformation often feels like silence. Yet all three are quietly leading you toward a future that is stronger than the one you imagined. Stop asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Instead, gently begin asking, what is this season teaching me? That single question can change everything. Because every season has something to give you, even the painful ones. Pain can teach compassion. Failure can teach wisdom. Waiting can teach patience. Silence can teach trust. None of those lessons are easy, but all of them are valuable. I know there are still moments when fear tries to convince you that nothing good is coming. Do not believe that voice. Fear speaks loudly, but truth speaks faithfully. The truth is that your future has not been canceled. Your purpose has not disappeared. Your value has not decreased because life became difficult. You're still growing. You're still learning. You're still becoming the person you were created to be. Never measure your worth by how quickly your life changes. Measure it by how faithfully you continue walking through every season, because that is where true strength is found. As you leave this message today, I want you to release something. Release the pressure to have everything figured out. Release the fear of falling behind. Release the disappointment that has been weighing down your heart. You were never meant to carry those burdens forever. Take one deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Allow your heart to become still. There is nothing you need to prove today. There is nothing you need to earn before becoming worthy of peace. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to believe that brighter days are still ahead of you. When tomorrow comes, meet it with courage instead of fear. When another challenge appears, meet it with wisdom instead of panic. When another opportunity arrives, step toward it with confidence instead of doubt. Remember everything you have already survived. Remember every obstacle that once looked impossible. Remember every time you thought you would never make it through. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. That is not weakness. That is resilience. And resilience is one of the greatest gifts you can carry into your future. There will be new opportunities, new friendships, new beginnings, new moments that will remind you why you never gave up. When those days arrive, do not forget this season. Do not forget the patience you learned. Do not forget the quiet strength you discovered. Do not forget the hope you chose when there was no visible reason to keep hoping, because those lessons will guide you long after the waiting is over. So today, walk with peace. Walk with humility. Walk with confidence. Not because every answer has arrived, but because you now understand that silence never meant you were alone. It meant your story was still being written. And stories worth remembering are never finished in a single chapter. Your next chapter is waiting. Step into it with an open heart. Step into it with unwavering hope. Step into it knowing that every faithful step you take today is leading you toward a future filled with purpose, growth, and unexpected joy. Thank you for staying until the very end. If this message reached your heart, carry it with you today. Share hope. Choose kindness. Keep believing. And whenever life becomes quiet again, remember this simple truth. Even in the silence, you are never alone. May peace fill your heart. May hope guide your steps. And may you never forget, you are deeply loved, you're never abandoned, and your story is only just beginning.